At Cape Town, which welcomed competitors for the 6th round of the Wesbank Challenge for modified saloons at Killarney at the end of last month. Plenty of rain on the 2 days preceding the meeting disrupted plans for a number of teams who were forced to abandon test programs. It all helped to create an air of expectancy. Going into the Killarney meeting, Larry Wilford in the Sabat Nissan Skyline led the overall championship and Class B. Wilford was followed by Ben Morganrud with a slender lead over Class A rivals Chris Aberdeen and Richard Sorensen. In the Manufacturers' Championship, Toyota held a healthy lead over Nissan, with Audi and the rest of the challengers way off the pace. Championship leader Wilford stepped up a league in Cape Town, taking over the ex-Works Audi Quattro, now in Sabat colours.
At this stage, we've done about 20 laps in the motor car, and I've got a lot to learn about it. It's superb, absolutely fantastic piece of machinery, and the best car I've ever driven.
This is our first Wesbank race that we're doing. We've done 3 Super Saloon races down here, which we've won, and one up at Swartkorps. And at the moment, you know, we're still busy getting to know the car and getting quicker and quicker every meeting. At the moment, we're running about 2 seconds slower than the quick Audis.
How long has it taken you to develop the car?
Well, I actually built the car, and we've been practicing the car for the last 3 months now. And it's getting quicker and quicker every time out.
Local favourite Neville Rousseau was another newcomer to Class A in an Opel Kadett running a Chevrolet V8 motor. The war of nerves at Saran's qualifying was dominated by Audi drivers Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss. Aberdeen took pole position from Terry Moss by 0.02 of a second. After mechanical problems in the Sassel Mazda early in the qualifying session, Ben Morganrud went out with less than 5 minutes remaining and grabbed 3rd place ahead of Sarel van der Merwe. It was all smiles in the Rothmans Audi pits. For pole sitter Chris Aberdeen, qualifying was an all-or-nothing affair for 1 lap.
It's an all-out effort. Obviously, you have 1 lap on the tyres before they lose 0.3 of a second. So you have to get it right the first time. You have to go out there and do 1 lap and make sure it's right.
There were also plenty of psychological battles fought out in qualifying in the lower classes. For Class C stalwart George Bezuidenhout, it also meant the debut of his new Nissan Sentra.
It's taken me 10 months to build it. It's quite a big job to convert a standard road-going car into a race car like this. For the first time, I thought I did a very good time, in fact, slightly quicker than my old car, not as quick as the Works Toyota. But I'm sure there is room for development.
There was also a new car for Class D frontrunner Ray Wilford.
We've got the new Superior Golf ready now, just taking a bit of time to get used to it, set it up. It hasn't got as much power as the other car did, but it handles a lot better. And as I said, it's going to take time to get used to it, especially in this weather.
Pole position in Class C went to young Anthony Taylor in the Minolta Toyota Sprinter.
I'm happy to be on pole for the first time in a Class C car. It feels great. At least I'm going to start winning hopefully again. At Killarney we had very big gearbox problems, and we did a lot of work on the gearbox to get that sorted out, and that helped me a tremendous amount.
Class A cars took the first 7 places on the grid, with Taylor 9th and ahead of a string of Class B cars. Table Mountain was shrouded in cloud on race morning. There was plenty of rain about, but no one, not even the locals, quite knowing which way the weather would turn.
We've had no real problems, but you know, if it stays wet like this, a 2-wheel drive turbo car is probably as close to a nightmare as you can get in the wet, so I'm not looking forward to this.
We were looking at the weather forecast last night, and the man says it's going to be 19 degrees and no rain today, and I believe him.
If it rains, obviously the Audis, there's nothing to touch them in the wet. The 4-wheel drive system, the Quattro system, when it gets going in the wet, it's safe, it's good, and it's fast.
Let's pick up Heat 1 action with the pace car leading the field around on the warm-up lap. Chris Aberdeen's race cam provides a close-up of the drivers weaving across the circuit to build some heat into the racing slicks. This is the restart of Heat 1, with the first race red flagged after 1 lap with a number of cars going off the track. It's still pretty wet in places out on the circuit, and that's going to be a big advantage for the Audi drivers. There must be a few butterflies floating around in Larry Wilford's stomach. This is his first race in the ex-Works Audi Quattro, and is in with some heavyweight company. The cars are closing up on poleman Chris Aberdeen, and it's his responsibility to dictate the pace of the start. And away they go, and it looks as though Ben Morgenrud has managed to split Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss and the Rothmans Audis. We pick them up as they sweep through Continental Corner and head for Castrol Sweep. And Morgenrud has put the Sassel Mazda into second place with Terry Moss right on his tail. Whoops, someone's gone farming in that first corner. That's a wake-up call for those photographers in no man's land. It looks like Charles Wilkin in the dealer team Toyota Conquest. He won't be too happy about that. We're on lap 1 with Chris Aberdeen pulling away from Ben Morgenrud, and it's still wet in places out there, and the four-wheel drive Audis have the advantage. It looks as though Ben Morgenrud is holding up Terry Moss in the second Rothmans Audi. We're riding with Larry Wilford in the Sabat Audi. Larry is 6th, and ahead of him is Richard Sorensen's Audi. Chris Aberdeen has the lead and a clear track ahead of him. Ben Morgenrud definitely looks to be holding up Terry Moss in the second Rothmans Audi. Over the start-finish line they go at around 240 kilometers an hour. Sarel van der Merwe is 4th in the Sassel Ford Telstar, with Richard Sorensen 5th and Larry Wilford 6th. That's the entrance to Stanek Corner at the end of the main straight, and we have some argy-bargy. It's Ray Wilford in the Shapiro VW and Ernie Vermaak in D74. Marshals are on the spot, and both drivers look to be okay, but those cars aren't going anywhere. Young Wilford here doesn't look too happy about it all. Lap 4, and we have young Anthony Taylor out in front in Class C in the Minolta Toyota Sprinter. Taylor is running 8th, and the only Class B ahead of him is Johan Kutsier's Gearmax Skyline. There are still plenty of damp patches out on the circuit, but Ben Morgenrud is edging closer and closer to Chris Aberdeen. The circuit must be drying out because Morgenrud is now putting all sorts of pressure on Aberdeen. Race cam action from the back of Aberdeen's car, and we can see just how close Morgenrud is to the Rothmans Audi. He's right in the Audi slipstream and should be able to make a move at the end of the main straight. There he goes, and Ben Morgenrud is taking the Sassel Mazda into the lead on lap 5. Morgenrud is into the lead, but there is slow traffic up ahead. This could give Aberdeen the break he needs to snatch back the lead. Terry Moss is 3rd, Sarel van der Merwe 4th, and Richard Sorensen 5th. News from the pits is that Larry Wilford has dropped out with a broken gear lever in the Sabat Audi, and Neville Rousseau is up to 6th in the Opel. Still plenty of rain clouds around, but the circuit is now almost dry. This has negated the advantage the Audis have in the wet with four-wheel drive, and Morgenrud looks pretty comfortable out in front in the Sassel Mazda. And the Morgenrud fans are certainly chuffed with seeing their man out in front. Aberdeen is 2nd, Moss is chasing in the second Rothmans Audi, and we still have a race on our hands. Mike Rowe's VW City Golf appears to have sprung a leak. That won't do his cause much good. Down in Class D, Charles Wilkin has come storming through the field after his first corner excursion. He's just broken the lap record and is catching class leader Dave Runkle hand over fist. Race cam action from the inside of the cockpit of the dealer team Toyota Conquest. I must say young Charles is looking pretty relaxed for someone carving his way through the field. Anyone for a Sunday drive in the park? Final lap with Ben Morgenrud bringing the Sassel Mazda into Stanek curve for the last time. Class B leader Johan Kutsier politely indicates to Ben that he should overtake on the inside line. Checkered flag is out for Ben Morgenrud in the Sassel Mazda. Morgenrud has built up a 4-second lead over Chris Aberdeen, with Terry Moss a second or so further back in the second Rothmans Audi. A great win for Ben Morgenrud in the Sassel Mazda, ahead of the two Rothmans Audis. Sarel van der Merwe was a lonely 4th, with Richard Sorensen 5th and Neville Rousseau 6th. Class B went to Johan Kutsier, Class C Anthony Taylor, and Class D Charles Wilkin. Back in the pits, a delighted Morgenrud pays homage to some equally delighted Morgenrud fans.
At the beginning of the race, for the first 3 laps, it was still pretty wet in places, and at one time I wasn't making any ground on the Audis. I was also thankful for the restart because that allowed me to split the 2 Audis. For the first start I couldn't do that. The second start I managed to do that. They said it was wet for about 2 or 3 laps. Then progressively as the circuit started drying, I could catch the Audis and get past. I'd also set the car up for the dry circuit, where some guys compromise, they put slicks on but they set the car up very softly.
Heat 2 coming up, and we're riding with Terry Moss as he tucks the Audi in behind Ben Morgenrood's Sassel Mazda. As winner of Heat 1, Morgenrood has pole position, and this time it is his responsibility to dictate the pace of the start. Both Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss will want to try and muscle their way past Ben Morgenrood as quickly as they can. Moss has the Audi's nose right under the Sassel Mazda's gearbox. There was a contact there, but Morgenrood is pulling away under acceleration on the short straight up the Castrol sweep. Terry Moss is closing right up on Morgenrood again. He wants the lead. This is great stuff from the race cam, and Moss is going through into the lead. Terry Moss is one of the most aggressive drivers around, and he won't give a centimetre of track to Ben Morgenrood. Terry Moss from Ben Morgenrood as the pair head towards Sabat corner. Sarel van der Merwe has got past Chris Aberdeen and is up into 3rd. Aberdeen is followed by Richard Sorensen, Neville Rousseau and Larry Wilford. Down the back straight, and Morgenrood is surely going to try and find a way around Terry Moss, under braking for Stanek corner. Into Stanek they go, and Morgenrood is in trouble. Morgenrood has overdone it, and there must be some choice language in that Sassel Mazda cockpit right now. Ben is heading back into the race with the nose cone acting as though it were a snowplow. Class C battle goes past as Morgenrood gets back onto the circuit. Dave Repsold missed the first heat in the Automark Toyota Sprinter and has Morgenrood in front of him. He won't catch a Sassel Mazda, but Repsold must have his sights set on George Bezay-Note and Anthony Taylor. Lap 2, and already we have drama. First heat winner Ben Morgenrood went off on lap 1. Terry Moss leads in the Rothmans Audi with Sarel van der Merwe second in the Sassel Ford Telstar, and under tremendous pressure from Chris Aberdeen in the second Rothmans Audi. And Morgenrood is into the pits. There is all sorts of debris stuck to the front spoiler. That won't do the cooling system much good, and they'll want to get rid of all that grass and dirt as quickly as possible. Lap 4, and Anthony Taylor is again right up with the Class B cars and the Minolta Toyota Sprinter. A tremendous battle has developed between Sarel van der Merwe in the Sassel Ford Telstar and Chris Aberdeen in the Rothmans Audi. They have been at it since lap 1, with leader Terry Moss disappearing into the distance and Ben Morgenrood a lap down. Aberdeen is doing everything he can to get past van der Merwe, but the wily old veteran still has a trick or two he can teach the younger driver. Aberdeen is going to make life difficult for van der Merwe, but catching and passing are 2 different things. Whoops, see, Larry Wilford has overdone it in the Sabat Audi. He'll want to get mobile as quickly as possible from that position before the rest of the field arrives on the scene. Back on the main straight, and Dave Repsold is closing right up on Class C leader Anthony Taylor. Taylor looks to have a problem. The Toyota is skittering around all over the track. He may have broken something on the car. We're in the car with Dave Repsold, and there appear to be puffs of smoke coming out of the back of Taylor's car. Taylor definitely has a problem. Well, there is smoke pouring from the back of Taylor's car as Repsold comes up and takes the Class C lead as they cross the start-finish line. Repsold is first into Continental Corner, and Taylor's problem looks as though it might be terminal. Two laps to go, and Sarel van der Merwe and Chris Aberdeen are still at it. Van der Merwe is second, Aberdeen third. It's the two-wheel drive Ford Turbo against the Audi four-wheel drive Turbo. Sarel's wife Danielle with a worried look in the pits. Aberdeen is having a look on the outside, but van der Merwe holds his line and shuts the door on the Audi. Down the BP straight with race leader Terry Moss on the Rothmans Audi. Stunning corner is approaching at a rapid rate of knots as we ride with the race cam on the front spoiler of the Rothmans Audi. Terry Moss has this one in the bag, and the Rothmans Audi pit crew know it as the checkered flag is unfurled. That's Sarl van der Merwe's crew. Can he hold off Aberdeen? From the looks of the pit crew's reaction, Sarl just made it into second. Victory for an elated Terry Moss. Sarl van der Merwe did in fact hold off Chris Aberdeen to take second place. Richard Sorensen came in fourth with Larry Wilford and Neville Rousseau next up.